You know, and you look at Wu, we all came from a tough background, trying anything to get on. But it's when we dug into the books of those rhymes, dug into those beat machines, and hit that studio, then we got paid in full. Hey, yo, my name is The RZA, yo. And if they was to make a movie about my creative life, I think the soundtrack would be something like this. But before my evolution to The RZA, this is what I was feeling as Prince Rakeem. I'm on Staten Island right now in the 80s, and it's a highly racist community on Staten Island at this point. You feel that being black is holding you back. But I'm also the type of kid that's going off the island and going to Manhattan and going to Brooklyn and striving to make my dream come true.
Yo, ready? Sitting in my class. You can hear me? You hear me? 1, 2, 1, 2. Yo.
The song right here is called Is It Because I'm Black by Syl Johnson.
The dark brown shades of my skin only add color to my tears.
The music to me sounds optimistic all the way through. There's a trying in the song. There's a trying in the music. Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah.
He's talking about being held back, but it feels like the music is freeing him. And that's why this song, to me, can relate to that period of time in my life. So here we are now, 1992, and we're about to enter the Wu-Tang. This is Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim.
Thinking of a master plan. This ain't nothing but sweat inside my hands. So
Rakim is saying in the lyrical content, he's thinking of a master plan, but ain't nothing but sweat inside his hand. And that's how I felt, you know? It's like it was time to come with a master plan to change the dynamic and the trajectory of my life and the life of my crew.
So I dig into my pocket, all my money spent, so I get deeper, but still coming up with lint, so I...
But what got me totally addicted to the song and what inspired me as a producer is the long club mix. When you hear the Arabic girl singing in the background, oh, I can't sing her notes, you know what I mean? Hearing Rakim's voice over it and Eric B and that hip hop scratch to it, you know what I mean? That just took it to another level. And that's what Wu-Tang Clan is doing. All the art and all the things that we've accumulated is now time to turn to that. Now here's the test to see if I got pulled. Hit the studio. Now I'm paid in full. We are at the release of 36 Chambers, Wu-Tang Clan, New York City, and the song that I chose to represent that is called The Payback by James Brown.
Payback! That's it!
The big payback is that now that Wu-Tang, New York City, the entire industry has showed up to the Hammerstein Ballroom, the party is off the chain, and they're all there for Wu-Tang Clan. Because at the end of the day, the industry had a chance in the early phase to benefit from what we was bringing, and they tried to push it to the side. But now we're back with a vengeance, and the industry is about to go through a change that it hasn't seen in decades, and Wu-Tang is going to be the catalyst to that change. And the James Brown screaming sporadically whenever he felt it, his own way of composing music and creating music is actually a breath of freedom for any other producer who wants to make music. You'll notice that later on in the song he goes, the big payback, I'm mad.
I'm mad to get down with my girlfriends. That ain't right.
He just gives you so many personalities in this song. Very small amount of lyrics. You know what I mean? Stole my woman. Some things you can't even understand what he's saying, but you feel it. And you go back and you look in the Wu-Tang and you see one of our members like Old Dirty Bastard, you see some of that freedom also being expressed. Yeah, so we gotta move on to the next chamber. And the next chamber is the second Wu-Tang album, Wu-Tang Forever. The song I chose to represent that is actually a Wu-Tang Clan song, and it's called Triumph.
I form atomically, Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses. Can't define how I be dropping these.
It really expressed everything that I was feeling as a artist, as a producer, as a member of Wu-Tang Clan, dropping the #1 album in the country, it felt like we was triumph. You know what I mean? We have made it somewhere. We accomplished our goals. You know, I could talk about the track because I produced it, but it's really, to me, that merging of hip-hop, soul, classical, and complete lyricism. Once Inspector Deck dropped his verse, it made everybody just like, okay, I gotta come with something. Because he came with almost everything. You know what I mean? So what else left to say?
Shackling the masses with drastic rap tactics. Graphic displays melt the steel like blacksmiths.
Everybody found their way in on that track, you know what I mean? And at any given moment, you'll fall in love with any one of us. But I gotta say, Inspector Deck's verse, one of the greatest set-off lyrics in hip-hop history. We just got off the Wu-Tang Forever, and I probably was sitting on the top of the world. But at the end of the day, I spent years in the studio and years not really fully expressing myself as an MC. And then all of a sudden, Bobby Digital and this alter ego comes. And to reflect that alter ego, I chose this song by Al Green called Gotta Find a New World.
Got to find a new world where the people understand how to treat one another.
He's singing about where people understand each other and walk hand in hand. People care about how you feel and what you say. And for me, it was all about and embracing more of what I call my digital orchestra. And you'll notice on my Bobby Digital album, I just basically daisy-chained about 5 or 6 different modules and all these keyboards. I put them all into a big MIDI pool, and they became my orchestra. I made the album, and I try to stay away from sampling. Like Al Green just said, I had to find a new world. Music theory started to manifest itself more, into my creation. You know, when I was making Protect Your Neck or 36 Chambers and even Cuban Links album, it's like I didn't really know what a C chord was. But by the time I finished Wu-Tang Forever, music theory was understood by me. The circle of fifths was understood by me. Chord progressions was understood. So you listen to the first track on Bobby Digital, B-O-B-B-Y, and it's basically a 32-bar phrase before it even loops. Chord progression just keep going.
The B, the O, the B, the B, the Y.
I began to be moving more into my composer mind. And yeah, I was definitely experimenting and having fun, and that fun wasn't only refined or confined to the studio. After Bobby Digital, I ended up being commissioned by Jim Jarmusch to score a movie, which was The Natural Trajectory, right? To represent that energy, I chose this song by Isaac Hayes called Walk On By.
Oh, baby, walk on by.
Well, I chose this particular song because Isaac Hayes, I just look at him as a guy who was able to take small bits of information and expand them. That's exactly what I think I was learning to do and striving to do as a composer. So on Walk On By, the original song is a Dionne Warwick song, and I think maybe Burt Bacharach is the producer of it. And when they did the song, maybe it was 3 minutes. And she'll go, if you see me walking down the street, and I start to cry.
If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry, each time we meet, walk on by.
And then Isaac Hayes get a hold of it, and before he even says one word, 8-minute intro. And it just comes in, it builds up, it breaks down, it goes to all types of samples and loops that the world will eventually take. And then when he finally starts singing, if you see me walking down the street and I start to cry, each time we meet. Walk on by.
If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time we meet.
It's like he just took that small phrase and expanded it. It's like how hip hop takes one loop of a song and then make it into a whole new song. That is what I was striving to do as a composer. So people ask what's the difference between working on an album and working on a score. Well, the thing about an album is you're making songs that have definitive beginnings, midpoints, and endings. When you're composing a movie, the formats are actually conversational in a way that's abstract but yet definitive. So if a song was, and maybe that'll go to a bridge or something like that, but in the score, that same thing could be. It's a different kind of conversation, yo. Now we're going into me as a movie composer into the movie called Kill Bill. And the song I chose for this is called Bang Bang by Nancy Sinatra. Obvious choice, right? I didn't know this song until Quentin Tarantino gave me a cassette tape. He actually went to his own vinyl collection and put together a mixtape of songs and gave them to me. And he said, you know, sample them, chop them up, do whatever you want. But this is some of the sounds I want and some of the vibe I want in my movie. Not being familiar with the song, as soon as I heard it, I was like, yo, well, that's the shit right there. I love the chord progression. I love her voice. I love the idea that she's at war with someone since they was kids. And the war was love. You know what I mean? My baby shot me down. With what? With love.
Bang, bang, he shot me down. Bang, bang, I hit the ground. Bang, bang, that awful sound.
It came time to put the song into the movie, and Quentin always knew that it would be the opening song to his movie. I don't think what he thought was that it'll play and get chopped up and make its appearance in other parts of the movie and slow down and done, you know, hip hop. Screwed, as they would say in some cases, right? While there's been much joy in my creative life, there's been tragedy, there's been turmoil, there's been heartbreak. One of my biggest heartbreaks, of course, is the passing of my brother, Old Dirty Bastard. It's one of those you never get over, passings. The song I chose to reflect that is actually a Wu-Tang Clan song that was written and dedicated to him, and it's called Life Changes. It was a sample that I found from Frida Payne. I go through life pretending that time will change the endings, but time is not going to change the ending of what happened. We have regret because we were selfish. We didn't come to your aid when we saw you crying for help. To some of us, it's a praise of his life. You know, there's no pretending, A-Song, you need love, fine wine, and fine women. All the different emotions. It was very simple instructions to my guys. I was like, yo, I just need 8 bars. If you could sum it up in 8 bars, because I want the singer to sing what we feel and us to reflect on that. And that's why you notice the song is long, but it goes 8 bars singing, 8 bars rap. 8 bars singing, 8 bars rap. And I didn't care if the song would have ended up being 12 minutes. I didn't care. And at the end of the song, if you get the album version, there's this quote from our Kung Fu Sifu, Sifu Xing Yan Ming. And what he's quoting is called the Heart Sutra.
般若波罗蜜多心经，观自在菩萨，行深般若波罗蜜多时。
And it says that every person, according to Buddhist teaching, every person should hear this sutra before he or she passes away. I think about how many people who didn't hear the sutra. And maybe Old Dirty didn't hear the sutra. But I wanted to make sure that people did hear that sutra. That song was a very painful process for me. But I will say this in the optimism of life. After Old Dirty passed away, I had talked to my fiance and we made a decision that we was gonna bring a new child into the world. And we did. You know, life goes on. I think I returned to Hollywood and started making movies and acting and directing. Doing one of my biggest roles, a movie's called Brick Mansion, and me and Paul Walker do this big film. And at the same time, we make the announcement that Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, the single album, will be auctioned off to the highest bidder. To reflect on that moment in my life, I chose a song by David Bowie called Life on Mars.
Is there life on Mars?
Just his idea of arrangement of the music alone, to me, reflects to the moment and what I was feeling in regards to this time of my life with the single album, a movie, Brick Mansion coming out, and with losing a dear friend and losing Paul Walker. This was a very unique time for me. And then with the record ending up in Martin Shkreli's hand, the most hated man in America, and then the farce behind his tactics, it became like this, almost like a superhero, supervillain. And so Life on Mars by David Bowie, to me, is a perfect song to describe the vibe. Is there life on Mars? Because it's gotta be better than the we have here. You know what I mean? Let's jump ahead to another important big Wu-Tang moment, and that's Wu-Tang: An American Saga. It's the first hip-hop bio series. And the song I chose for this part of my creative life is called Memories by Gladys Knight. The sample that I found in that song called Can It All Be So Simple?
Can it be that it was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every line?
The beautiful thing is that, you know, this is a cover song. Barbra Streisand did the great renditions of it, I think. But Gladys Knight's cover of it really kind of sinks into the soul. And the intro she added to the song, it made you take a moment to go back and look at life with a child's heart. That's why I chose that song for the series, because the series gives me a chance, and I'm very proud of this and very grateful. I know that a lot of people won't get a chance to do this. Go back and recreate your childhood, you know what I mean? And recreate the home you lived in. That song is telling me to do that in all reality. So it's a perfect song. The next big thing I'm doing in my creative world is I have a new movie called Cutthroat City in theaters this summer. Since this movie is based in New Orleans, I have to go to one of the greatest artists that New Orleans produced, especially in the modern era, and that's Lil Wayne. And this song is called The Sky is the Limit.
What do you expect? I'm from New Orleans. The majority of my city is riders.
This is one of the songs that I listen to a lot. While editing the movie, this song probably played in like 3 or 4 different scenes, because I felt that what Wayne was saying and the vibe of the production and the piano rising, it was the spiritual soundtrack to the film and to the characters. His voice, his tonation is like a battery, and that battery helped get in the back of not just me as a director, some of my actors, my editor, you know what I mean? Music does that, because at the end of the day, when it comes to creativity, imagination, art, and expression, the sky is the limit.